When people think about California prisons, some of the first thing to come to mind is race wars, violence, and the gangs. There's 32 institutions operating up and down the California coast, Pelican Bay being the farthest north, Ironwood being the farthest south. There's 30 prisons operating for men and 2 for women. 91,000 people incarcerated in California, which is 17.6% over the allowed population that these institutions can hold. Now, when you have stress, overcrowding, and racial tension, it's a boiling pot ready to explode. And it often does in the California Department of Corrections. All the time, actually. These are my top 5 most violent and dangerous prisons to be housed at. This isn't my opinion. This is pure facts from the use of force statistics that the CDCR keeps, which is basically all of the violent incidents where there was use of force. Could have been assault on a staff, could have been assault on an inmate, could have been an unaliving, many things. But they keep these statistics, at least the ones that are reported. And this is what I'm basing my top 5 off. Let's get it. I got a couple homies love me, couple homies hate me, couple motherfuckers wanna fade me, but they hella shaky. This ain't Parker Brothers, I ain't playing. Move, just let me land. I'm on YouTube chasing all these bands, that's the master plan. Teach a couple lessons, then expand. Can't no go ahead, reaching people all in Bethlehem. Damn. Reaching people all in Bethlehem. What's cracking, YouTube, and how's everyone doing? This is my top 5 most violent and dangerous prisons that you can be housed at in the CDCR. Remember, this is not my personal opinion. This is purely based on statistics. Let's get it. Coming in at number 5, man, one that I thought would be way more higher on this list, but it landed in at number 5 statistically. High Desert State Prison, located in Susanville. High Desert State Prison is isolated, but isolation doesn't mean your safety. This prison has a long-standing problem with contraband, manufactured weapons, and internal violence, to the point where the CDCR repeatedly included them in the modifying movement operations, which basically means they're on lockdown a lot. Searches at High Desert regularly uncover knives, syringes, and cell phones. All indicators of the instability and the dangers that's going on at this prison. Historically, violence at this prison escalated to the point where live rounds had to be fired during major disturbances, and sometimes inmates were even unalive. That tells you everything that you need to know about the level of threat staff and inmates face here, which makes High Desert come in at our number 5 ranked most dangerous prisons. Also, just a side note, for me, this is personal. This don't got nothing to do with the stats. For me, this place was so dangerous because High Desert is widely known as a stronghold for the white inmates. You know, this is one of the rare prisons where almost every CO is a big corn-fed white dude, like, you know what I mean? So this is one of the prisons that the whites actually had the most power at, and it was very dangerous for black inmates back in the day. It's calmed down a lot now, but back in the days, I remember High Desert was a stronghold for white inmates.
Prosecutors say the Aryan Warrior gang is responsible for 4 murders in this massive criminal case. The video we will show you will be used as evidence in one of those murders. It's also at the center of a civil lawsuit filed in federal court by the murder victim's family. I want to warn our viewers, the video is graphic and disturbing.
He wasn't a saint, but he didn't deserve what happened to him.
That's the father of Andrew Thurgood in an exclusive interview with 8 News Now in July of 2018. It is now 3.5 years after his son was killed at High Desert State Prison, and the 2 suspects are finally charged with murder. This video from February of 2016 is a central part of the case. Thurgood and 2 men identified as Anthony Williams and Tarek Goikachia walk into a cell. 6 minutes later, Williams and Goycochea walk out and then back in. Williams drags Thurgood out of the cell. Then Goycochea drags him. Thurgood is beaten and allegedly stabbed 52 times. Less than a minute later, as officers arrive, Williams and Goycochea give each other props before they get down to the ground. No medical attention is immediately provided. Thurgood is left lying there, bleeding. He moves slightly several times. More officers arrive. Approximately 12 minutes after an officer first reached Thurgood, jail staff put him on his feet and walk him out. According to this coroner's report, he was taken to the prison infirmary, complained he couldn't breathe, and died nearly an hour later. Thurgood was 26 years old and serving time.
Well, that's why it comes in at number 5 statistically. And coming in at number 4 is Salinas Valley State Prison. Located in Soledad, this is a level 4. Salinas Valley State Prison is one of the most statistically violent prisons in California. Even if it doesn't always make the headlines, there's always something cracking on these yards. They're very active. Academic studies reviewing CDCR data repeatedly rank Salinas Valley near the top in use of force incidents, especially relative to its population size. So it's a smaller institution, but it still gets active. They have a lot going on. Between 2023 and 2025, multiple inmate unalivings were confirmed here. Multiple, it was going down. In one incident in 2005, 3 inmates that were already convicted of unaliving another inmate were under investigation for unaliving yet another inmate. This is triggering the lockdowns and all type of stuff. Like, Salinas been under scrutiny for this for a while. You know what I mean? This, at Salinas, the violence is not random. This is always usually organized, targeted, and it's often gang driven. Salinas has a mixture of all different type of prison gangs. That's why I think it's really more, it's a lot violent, because the more north you get in these prisons, the more north you go, the more violent it gets, because you start to tend to mix like Southsiders. You start running into Norteños, you start running into Bulldogs, the more north you go, so for that mixture is a key for violence.
New tonight, 4 inmates were stabbed during a riot at Salinas Valley State Prison. Last night, the prison says the riot happened around 6:30 p.m. When correctional officers arrived at the location of the scene, they found 4 inmates were suffering from stab wounds. After taking control of the situation, the inmates were transported to a local hospital for treatment. The prison says they also found weapons that were allegedly made by the inmates there. No staff were injured, and 3 of the inmates are still at the hospital. The 4th individual has been released.
All right. Coming in at number 3 is one that I personally did not see coming, but statistically, by use of force, this is the 3rd ranked prison as far as violence. And that's California State Prison, Los Angeles County, Lancaster, or as we call it, Clancaster. California State Prison, Los Angeles County doesn't always get the attention, but it should, because it's extremely volatile. This facility mirrors Southern California street politics, with inmates tied to long-standing gang rivalries that don't stop just because the gates closed. According to CDCR reports, this prison experienced dozens of use of force incidents every year, along with repeated contraband seizures and riots. In 2024, an inmate was unalived during an assault inside the facility. That death was a part of a broader spike in violence that led to statewide movement restrictions. When CDCR looks at the entire state lockdown prisons like this is usually why. So, as most of these prisons that are going to be on this list are going to be included in that statewide lockdown that they had going on in 2004, and some are still locked down right now in 2005, because as soon as they come back off, they rock and roll again and go right back on lockdown. So coming in at number 2, I knew this one was going to be up here. We all can kind of probably guess what this one is right now. We all know what it's about to be. Good old Pelican Bay State Prison, Crescent City, California, level 4180, and the former SHU. Pelican Bay State Prison isn't just dangerous, it's infamous, bruh. For decades, Pelican Bay housed the state's most dangerous inmates in a security housing unit, or the SHU. These were gang leaders, killers, and inmates deemed uncontrollable anywhere else in the system. Even after reforms, Pelican Bay remains one of the most intense prisons in California. In just January of just this past January right now, damn, that's still, that was like 2 days ago. All right, just this past January, 3 inmates stabbed a correctional officer inside the dining hall using manufactured weapons. The officer survived, and the attackers were charged with attempted murder. Pelican Bay also records some of the highest assault rates on staff amongst the level 4 prisons, a key indicator used by the CDCR to measure institutional danger. Extreme isolation didn't eliminate violence here at all. It concentrated it, and it exploded. And Pelican Bay still has that stigma around it that they will assault staff at Pelican Bay. They will assault staff at Pelican Bay.
Another day, another death. Pelican Bay State Prison sees its 95th homicide since 2022. Today, Sunday, November 2nd, 2025. A brutal attack occurred in Facility B's day room. 2 inmates linked to the Sereno prison gang stabbed another inmate with homemade weapons. The victim, serving time for heinous crimes, succumbed to his injuries despite immediate medical efforts. Both attackers have been moved to restricted housing, awaiting new murder charges. But this is more than an isolated incident. It's part of a disturbing trend. Since Jeff McCumber became Secretary of CDCR, violence has surged to unprecedented levels. Homicides, assaults, and stabbings are now alarmingly common.
All right, drum roll, man. Let me get a drum roll. Let's see which one of these statistically is the most violent prison in California. Drum roll, please. And the most violent prison statistically in California is California State Prison, Sacramento, or as we might know it as New Folsom, level 4, really cracking, dangerous, active. California State Prison, Sacramento, better known as New Folsom, is widely considered the most violent prison in the state today. According to multiple analysis of CDCR data, Sacramento consistently records the highest rate of use of force incidents in any prison in California for some years now. It nearly doubles all other level 4 facilities in violent altercations. This prison houses a large concentration of people with life, validated gang members, and inmates with extreme violent histories, which creates a non-stop pressure cooker environment, bruh. Always booming. They're super politicking up there. It's some of the main figures that be in this institution, man. So you definitely politicking the right way. You can't mess up at a place like this. In 2003 alone, 5 inmates were unalived inside the facility. Violence continued in the 2024 and 25, prompting repeated lockdown and modified programming. Like I said, they're going to continue to be locked down because with the surge of violence that's going on in the CDCR right now, as soon as some of these institutions come off lockdown, they're going right back up. Someone's getting hit, period, point blank. You know what I'm saying? There have been multiple large-scale riots involving dozens of inmates with armed, manufactured weapons, not fists, not hands. When it goes up at New Folsom, they using burners. You know what I'm saying? So when they say that when the statewide, when stuff cracks off and it's a ripple effect through all the institutions, it came from Sacramento.
And right to that breaking news now out of Folsom, where inmates using homemade weapons got into a fight, causing a deadly prison riot.
Here's what it looks like right now from Live Copter 3. This happened earlier this afternoon about 1 p.m. at California State Prison Sacramento, better known as New Folsom. The fight broke out in the facility's general yards, and it involved at least 70 inmates. This is the prison that houses many of the state's most violent criminals.
KCRA 3's Mike Lurie is live for us outside the prison with what investigators are revealing about this riot today. Mike.
Well, Golson, we can tell you this riot started here just a little before 1 this afternoon in Prison Yard B. It involved, as you said, some 70 inmates who used man-made weapons to stab other prisoners, killing one and seriously injuring 11 others who were sent to area hospitals. In addition, others were injured as well. They are being treated inside these prison walls with undisclosed injuries. Now, we have some videotape captured a little bit earlier today from Live Copter 3 showing high above the California State Prison Sacramento in Folsom. Now, correctional officers used pepper spray to quell this riot. It took them about 20 minutes to contain and control the 70 inmates involved in the riot. This is a maximum security prison, first opened in 1986, and it contains the worst of the worst male inmates, those who are most difficult to manage from other prisons and those with long prison sentences. And just moments ago, we spoke with Lieutenant Aaron Conrad, the prison public information officer here at New Folsom Prison. Here's what he had to say.
The cause of the riot is under investigation. Staff had utilized less lethal munitions to quell the riot, which lasted around 20 minutes. Additionally, 3 warning shots from Mini-14s were fired. Several inmates were injured. 1 inmate is deceased as a result of stab wounds from other inmates.
Now, there are many gangs here at this prison. This is indeed a very dangerous place, not only for inmates, but also for correctional officers. Fortunately, no correctional officers were injured in this melee today. We'll have more on this coming up tonight at 6. Reporting live in Folsom, Mike Lurie, KCRA 3 News.
All right, thanks for that part of our coverage right now, Mike. Let's go back up to our Live Copter 3 pilot, Dave Allen, scanning from above. What have you been seeing out there since this riot broke out, Dave?
Well, as you can see from our earlier shots, things have calmed down quite considerably here. There's almost no activity in here except an occasional enforcement officer walking around. The red tape from the area of the conflagration still remains right there, and I'm having Marcelino zoom in on it now. You can see that red tape marking where all of this took place earlier.
Yeah, clearly marked there as the investigation continues. Dave Allen, thanks for that.
That's why New Folsom is ranked #1 most violent, most dangerous institution to be housed at, statistically. All right, y'all, that's my top 5. And as we know, CDCR is extremely dangerous. It's a dangerous place. Like, you don't wish it on anybody. That's why we take times out to do these videos so we can show you how extreme it actually is. You want to think twice about all your choices, and you don't ever want to come here. All right, so now check this out. I got to give an honorable mention, which I thought these 2 were for sure going to be on there. I got to give an honorable mention out to Kern Valley, because Kern Valley, like the last couple of months, it been booming. I just been seeing Kern Valley all over YouTube, all over Instagram, all type of stuff going on there. I for sure thought that was going to make this list, but statistically it didn't. And the other one I want to shout out is Corcoran. You know what I'm saying? So Corcoran is another one that's booming. It really be booming out here. You know what I'm saying? So those are my 2 honorable mentions. If y'all think I missed anything, or if y'all think statistically these facts are wrong, go ahead, put it in the comment section. Leave your boy a like, a comment, subscribe to my channel, boy. I'm going up. You already know what this is. Blue Cheese Entertainment. Let's get it.